Hi, I'm Maddy Harland from Permaculture magazine. Welcome to the garden. You last visited around the end of May and now it's mid-July, so everything is in full swing and we've got loads of food coming out of it, so come and have a look. So this is very much close to the back door, and this is one of my favourite little parts of the garden. It's a herb garden, but it's very much a polyculture. So besides growing garden mint and marjoram, sage and rosemary and chives, there are also some strawberries, some oxeye daisies that have snuck in from the meadow, and a physalis that is growing next to the bay tree, and next to the physalis is daylily, and daylilies are only available for a day, but they are crunchy and deliciously edible. I'm standing next to our tree kale, which is a biannual and is now setting seed, so we're going to save the seed and plant it next year. Meanwhile, I've got some tree cabbages that I got from a permaculture gathering, and it was in one packet, and out of one packet I've got 4 different varieties: a sort of curly-ish tree kale, a purple veined cabbagey kale, and then a more cabbage-like plant as well. So be interested to see if they grow as tall as this fantastic tree kale that we've got here. And the tree kale, huge leaves, these are nothing on like when it's mature, and also lovely white flowers that are sweet as sweet can be to eat raw. Next to the kale is pink fir apple potatoes. These are one of our favourite salady potatoes, and then once we pull these out, they're ready, we'll get them out. We're going to plant some butternut squash here that will crop in the autumn. But here I'm growing one of my absolutely favourite climbers, which is Morning Glory, which is the most beautiful flowering climber that sets seeds, and you can save the seed every year for the pleasure of it. In the corner there's some dwarf French beans, there's a little row of spuds, and we've got the winter spinach setting seed as well. So quite a productive bed. We'll continue to sow plants in here, and once we've got proper shade, we hope that we'll take more advantage of it as the season moves on. This is the Brassica cage. We filmed how we built it on YouTube. It's this height because we want to have really healthy big Brussel sprouts, and as you see, they're coming on really well. We've got a succession crop in here of spring onions that we need to remove. We need to eat our red Russian ragged kale. It's growing incredibly well, and the Fildenkraut cabbage as well. Big plant is coming on well, but it's a really successful, healthy project, and it's brilliant to see those cabbage whites just flying on by. So this is our little greenhouse. It's only about 6 by 8 feet, but as you can see, we stack in as many levels as we can. At the back is an own root stock peach tree, and every year we have to hard prune it to espalier it like this, but every year it produces really succulent, delicious fruit. Hanging in baskets are our strawberries. We've had them now, and they're going to set runners, and we're going to propagate the runners and replant them because these are actually 3 years old now, so they're not as productive as they need to be. And then the next layer is King of the Ridge cucumber at the back, and a whole different variety of tomatoes, from Tigrella to Spanish Big, Roma, which is one of my favourite plum tomatoes, and then a couple of Henry Doubleday heritage tomatoes as well. On the lower layer there's a lemon tree that I'm growing on. There's lots and lots of basil, coriander that's been cropped, a whole load of thyme, which loves the greenhouse and pulls in the bees that then pollinate whatever needs pollination. There's some French tarragon and 2 types of parsley, and then we grow a whole mixture of chilies, different ones most year. This year we've got jalapenos and some red chilies. And lastly, there's a little olla in there, which is an irrigation system with a porous terracotta pot, and we fill that up every day, and it osmotically feeds the tomatoes on that side with water at a slow release rate, and it works brilliantly well. I know that because the roots of the tomatoes wrap themselves around the terracotta. So that's the greenhouse, basically fitting in as much as we can. In the bed on my right is some sea kale, a couple of leftover corn that we've planted as close to the other corn as possible because it's wind pollinated, and globe artichoke. And there's a little bit of space because we've just harvested Choggia beetroot, so I'll be putting some more beetroot in that bed, and probably sowing some white Lisbon onions as well. This is our salad bed. Obviously we've had the bulk of the salad out of it, thinned it, replanted it with solid pink celery, which is a Henry Doubleday heritage seed, lots and lots of lettuce. We've still got Sue lettuce, which is the bald lettuce here, and then there's a mixed lettuce oak leaf. We've sowed more rocket again. We'll come in here and pull out even more and probably sow some more lines of different salad, which I've planted in a modular way. Here, this is mainly our courgette bed at this time of year because we love courgette and so does all the family. But to add a little bit of heightened interest, we're growing giant sunflowers, and we've managed to fit a couple in this bed. And they seem to like living together, the courgettes and the sunflowers. This is our take on the 3 sisters. It's the 2 sisters. So we've got sweet corn with an understory of dwarf French beans. I don't grow climbers up sweet corn because our season's so short, and unless we get a really hot summer, which we can't guarantee, the corn just gets a bit engulfed and doesn't ripen properly. And nor do I grow pumpkin underneath. I could next year possibly try a small courgette to get the 3rd sister in, so I'm going to try that next time. And last time you came and visited the garden, this was absolutely stuffed with broad beans. So we've harvested all of the broad beans, but before we took them out, we did a bit of successional stacking. So we planted different squashes up the poles, and these have been happily growing up while we picked all of our broad beans. We took them all out, chucked a bit of mulch into the middle for nutrition, and they've really started to climb now, and so we're feeding them and just tying them up and waiting for the autumn when we're going to have butternut squash and chicory and spaghetti squash. I think that's the 3 varieties that we've planted, all of our favourites basically. But if there's any varieties that you'd like a bit more detail of, or where I got them from, just put a question in the comments and I'll check my comments and answer whatever I can for you. So this is the last bed. In front of me is celeriac, and then in these pig wire circles we've grown Brussel sprouts. Again, we like Brussel sprouts, and we've hidden them behind a curtain of peas, but the peas that have grown up and we've harvested successfully are pretty much over, so we're going to pull them out, spray these plants with garlic spray to put off cabbage whites, and I think we'll probably also net them as well, particularly during August, which is peak cabbage white season. So I hope you've enjoyed this brief little tour of our vegetable garden, and I hope it's given you some ideas about how you can stack a no-dig garden quite bio-intensively, so there's very little room for weeds and lots of room for lots and lots of different types of vegetables and a few flowers as well. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you're having a great day. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe and don't forget to press the notification bell, and we will let you know whenever we publish a video. Bye.